Okay, so here's one way of modeling the C-clamp in Fusion 360. So you're going to start off with a torus. We're going to mold that torus into the shape of that C-clamp base. Give yourself a good number of radius faces and ring faces. Keep in mind the number of ring faces because that'll be important later in functions for transitioning one form to another. So I got 15 ring faces, and I'm going to add some symmetry to this torus. I'm going to have that symmetry cut through the full base of that torus. So whatever I do on this side will happen on the other side. Okay, so I'm just going to jump in and start molding this form. I'm going to create a flat-ish back. Alright, if we look at the picture again, it's flat here, tapers at its ends. Pull this out a bit. Whoops. One neat trick is if you're in edge mode, select an edge by double clicking it and you're going to loop your selection. So that's pretty handy. I'm going to scale this down a little bit to create that taper. Pull it back. Okay. Let's see. Go back into face mode. Let's try and get this a little bit straighter. Okay, edge mode, same deal. I'm going to taper this down. Bring it inward. I'm going to widen this corner right here. Same on this side. Okay, so kind of see that C shape. Let's just rotate this a little bit downward and bring it in. Alright, so I'm not going to fuss with it too much, but you can start to see this C, and we're going to crop this side off. But before we do that, let's tackle this fillet on these edges. So in the same method of loop selecting edges, you can loop select faces. Go into face mode and click one face, and then click the next face by double clicking it, and you'll loop that face selection. So bring that inward, and we'll start to get a gradual taper, fillet on either side. And we can fuss with this a lot more by adding new geometry. If you hold Alt and you pull upward, you're going to create new ISO lines. But we're not going to focus too much on it. So we'll leave it as is. Maybe we'll bring this downward a little bit. It's pretty dramatic. Okay. So let's continue by cutting these faces off. And we can pull this back a little bit. Right? and rotate this a little bit more downward. Okay, so if we look at our picture again, pretty close. So we have these holes on the ends, and we need to cap them in order to continue. So before capping them, you need to clear the symmetry. You can't cap without clearing symmetry first. So then we'll go to Fill Hole and select those edges and just cap it. Do the same thing on the bottom side. Okay, so once we capped those ends, we're going to focus on this top transition here. It's transitioning to the flat kind of puck shape. So we're going to combine two t-splines bodies. So we'll create a puck-like shape and use the bridge function to connect this base to the puck. Okay, so let's create a cylinder. Let's try to get in position here. Let's go for 1 inch. Okay, and to create the transition, it's important that we keep the same number of line segments that we use on the base. So 15, I believe it was. And let's see, yeah. Okay, so let's position this to that transition point. Push a little bit forward. And let's cap this off. Okay, so now we can bridge this face to this face, and again, you're going to need the same number of line segments. So if you can count, and you can add line segments in to match up, but if you counted these edges here, it'd probably be 15, and that has to match to these edges here, 15 all around. So let's try that. We'll bridge this side to this side. There we go. Okay, so it was a little too far forward. Let's step back and try to fix that. Probably need to rotate that top face downward more and push this forward more. Push this forward. And we'll, let's see, rotate this downward. Let's try that bridge function again. Okay, not bad. Let's cap. part. Okay, now that we have this top part, we can focus on this bottom transition, and it's not as gradual as this one. So what we're going to do is combine the two bodies together and then put a fillet on that transition edge. So in order to do any combining functions, Boolean functions, we're going to have to convert the t-splines body into a solid body. Okay, so we're going to convert. Alright, and now you can see that it's a solid body. Alright, so we'll be working in solid mode, and we'll create a cylinder. Put the same size, 2 inches. Let's go 2 inches down. Move this into position. And let's give ourselves a little bit more height. Okay. We'll combine this body with this body. And then we'll create a fillet there. At that transition point. Okay, now we can, sorry about that. I can fillet these edges too. Alright, so we pretty much have our base set. We can work on the second component, which is the threaded rod and the handle. Alright, so I'm going to create a sketch on this face. Go for a circle, 3/4 hole. Alright, and actually let's use that sketch again to create the rod. Let's do both sides. Okay, and we're going to keep it as a put it as a new component. And let's see, we can fill out these edges. Let's make that handle sorry. Okay, let's put this as the active component in order to make operations on it. Cut that. Keep that sketch around for the handle. Alright, we'll create that as a new body as well. Let's see, so there's some balls on the ends. We can do that pretty quickly. Create a circle larger than the diameter of the handle. Let's do 0.75. And draw a line that splits that in half at that center point. Then we'll revolve it along the center. Same thing on this side. Alright, so in this component we have the rod and the handle. So we'll create the threads now, and to do that I'm going to just make a coil. Let's see, on this face. Let's project this geometry here. And you can dictate your threads, you know, by pitch, by height and pitch. But I'm just gonna use the one that is defaulted. I'm gonna go for a 10-inch from that top surface. Let's see, 35 revolutions should do it. Let's use triangle external for the sharp threads, and okay, we'll join. Probably need more revolutions, so let's go for 50.
That's good.
So 50 and -10. All right. Oh, I was in the wrong component. Let's do that again. Actually, we should probably cut. Let's cut the threads out of the base. So if we hide this component, we'll see that that cut happened. And now we'll jump into this component, make this the active component. And we'll create that again. Okay, so now we have our threads and our rod and handle. If we hide that, you'll see the male and female of that thread. Pretty much the last thing we're missing is that top piece of the thread rod. So we'll just extrude this up. join that. And give it a taper angle. Okay, let's make it. And probably give it a little bit of a thickness there. Okay, and that's pretty much it. Well, actually, we can slice that off to give it a flat surface. Okay, there we have it. Here is our clamp. Thanks for watching.